from the Wolverhampton Music Service, and in this video I'll be looking at the Grade 3 Clarinet study Andante in A. Now this study is a piece which uses both the low register and the high register, and it actually goes from one to the other in the main sections of the piece. There are lots of slurs and smooth sections, so you must be confident about playing your high register notes nice and smoothly and evenly. Now, as with all studies, it is played without piano accompaniment, so you must be confident about playing it with a good sense of rhythm and a very steady sense of pulse, the underlying pulse. And it's always good to practice these studies with a metronome to help you. The marking for this piece is tempo crotchet equals 100, which is a good tempo to perform it. So I will be playing it a little bit later at that tempo. Now this particular study has a key signature of 3 sharps, which of course means A major. So it's really useful for this one to practice your A major scale and also play your A major arpeggios as good preparation for this piece. In fact, the very opening phrase of the piece, which appears a few times, is the start of the A major arpeggio. With the last 3 notes there being part of a D major arpeggio, so hopefully you'll know that as well. As it's in A major, you've got a lot of F sharps and C sharps in both registers, low C sharp and high C sharp, and of course G sharps. There are a lot of G sharps in both low register and high register, so you really need to be used to going from your G sharp down to the F sharp, and of course G sharp up to A as well in your high register, and G sharp down to F sharp in your low register. You also need to make sure that you make a real difference in the dynamics of the piece, the louds and the quiets, because there are lots of differences in this piece. It begins with MF, moderately loud, then goes to MP after the double bar, so a bit quieter for that. Then a little crescendo a bit later to MF and back to MP, so a quick sudden change down to quiet or fairly quiet at that point. Then gets a bit louder, a bit quieter, crescendo at the end. So a lot of changes which you need to just make sure that you show in your performance. Now most of this piece is slurred, so it is nice and smooth, but don't forget to tongue the first note of each slur. There are some staccato marks over some crotchets as well, and also some accents. So the accents must be played a bit louder. The staccato notes, the crotchet ones, they're usually played like a quaver with a quaver rest, so you have a little gap in between the notes. So I'm going to play with a metronome, and the metronome will be at the marking of 100, and I'm going to play the whole piece. There is a repeat mark in the second line to repeat from the beginning, but you won't need to do that in the exam. You will only be expected to play right through the whole piece once, so which is what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to start the metronome, which will click for 2 bars, and then I'll begin. hope you enjoy playing along with that performance and with the metronome set. And if you're practicing by yourself, it is a very good idea to have a metronome click to go with it as well. So you can either get yourself a metronome, a physical one, or a metronome app, and it's much easier to measure the speed if you've got one of those, and to hear it as well as you're practicing. So good luck with that. I think it's a very attractive piece, and don't forget now also to look out for further video releases from the Wolverhampton Music Service. Thank you.